Hey there, greetings from the annual National United States Rainbow Gathering in Utah this year, 2014. I'm at the gathering right now. I'm kind of on the edge of the gathering site in this spot. Well, as you can see, amazing, beautiful meadow here. Off in the distance there, you probably can't really see, but there are some tents and things in the trees a little ways away there, and that's kind of the edge of the gathering. Where I'm camped is up this little valley right here. I am camped at the kitchen of a friend of mine. It's called Deep Faith, and the kitchen is set up by a guy named Jeffrey, who, for anyone who might have happened to have read my book Kundalini and the Art of Being, that is Jeffrey from that book, the homeless character that I ended up meeting in Eugene, Oregon, almost 21 years ago, fall of 1993. So we've been friends for a long time there. So having a great time hanging out with some cool guys and working away and having some fun too. So I'm just getting a little break from the gathering, finding some peace and quiet here, wandering about, and looks like there's going to be some awesome views up ahead. So this video is titled The Conspiracy Against Life Force Energy. And I've come across the concept before of the conspiracy against enlightenment. And I definitely agree that that is something that is going on Earth, is a intention and desire on the part of those who are in control, the elites of the planet, to keep the people of Earth from truly waking up and being more or less in a state of subservience to varying degrees. I mean, certainly we still do have the freedom to a great extent, especially in the US here and in many other countries around the world, to do what we want, to go where we want. We have more freedom than a lot of people have in the past history of the world. But still there is a very conscious effort, I believe, on the part of many in positions of power to keep people diverted, distracted, even if they could go off and wake up, as it were, come into their true power and potential, unplug from the system as it is, and start creating another reality for the planet and for humans. We do have that potential, absolutely, but people are just stuck in this sort of hamster wheel life to a great extent of just working away, getting the basic needs met, vegging out in front of the TV, or something along those lines, going to the bar, going to the mall, going to the movies, whatever, and staying in this cycle of just getting by, being in a state of low consciousness, of not really questioning your life, your reality, the system of society that you're living in, whether it's really working. Are you genuinely happy? Do you really feel the pulse of life flowing through you or not? And a great many people in the modern world are very disconnected from life force energy, disconnected from nature. They don't see the stars. If you're in the middle of the city, then you can't see the full expanse of the stars. You don't have that nightly reminder of the vastness of the cosmos that we live within, in which we are on this rotating planet flying through space, and which really makes you think. When you stare up at the night sky at just the thousands and thousands of stars up there, you can't help but start to ponder, like, wow, what's the bigger picture? What's really going on here? Could some of these stars have planets that are inhabited by other beings that, who knows, might be visiting this planet and trying to send us some messages via crop circles and channeling and visitations and showing their ships to certain people and etc. And So Earth is very much in a control system of the people of Earth, to a great extent, being disconnected from the real pulse of life. And so that is why I come to things like rainbow gatherings. I really kind of needed to experience this one. Also, just to get out in nature, the woods, the nature of the Western United States is definitely one of my favorite places. And somewhere you can really feel the life force energy. Get away from the cars and the internet and TV and politics and satellites and cell phones and all that crap, and feel the dirt on your feet and the bugs flying around and the sun and the wind and the beauty of these natural settings. And so you can talk about enlightenment, and there are very different conceptions of what enlightenment truly is. But to me, what's more important than focusing on an idea of enlightenment, which can very much be a mental concept, is being aware of the concept of life force energy, which is not a thought, which is not a product of the mind. If you're only focusing on the mind and the mental processes and the upper self, the upper chakras, and expecting this mental realization that's going to change everything for you, that there can be certainly powerful realizations, but what is keeping people powerless and disconnected from the universe at large, from the world, from themselves, is this disconnect from life force energy. And life force energy is different from your thoughts and your mental capacity. The life force energy is a much more deep-rooted, flowing, powerful energy. Kundalini is kind of the ultimate manifestation of life force energy. But you don't have to have a Kundalini awakening to experience life force energy. There are many ways to tap into it, but the first important concept is just to be aware of the idea of these lower energies and finding unity with the upper self and the lower self, and understanding that your real power, your true potential and power within is not a product of the mind. It is a deeper aspect of consciousness of ourselves. It is the lower self. And there are many people talking about enlightenment who are also talking against the lower self. And this, to me, is if not perpetuating the powerlessness, it is at least not getting down into the stuff that we need to get down into, which is the base. Oops, a little cut on my foot there. Which is the base self, and finding alignment with the base primal root self with the upper awakening process. And as long as people are disconnected from that life force energy, then they can focus on awakening all they want, even if they're on that path of, I'm ready to unplug from the system and wake up to the conspiracies going on and try to create a new world and whatnot. But if you're not tapping into that life force energy, then you're not really getting to your true root power, and that is what I believe that we are really being distracted from is coming into our true root power. That there could even be forces influencing, the New Age movement and various religious structures that seem to be an alternative to the mainstream, to Catholicism and various fundamentalist paths that look like a better alternative. They sound better. They sound more open-minded and more enlightened, but still, they're just mental concepts talking about all this fancy stuff of aliens and crop circles and other dimensions and you're gonna scan the scene here and opening the third eye and the light body and activating your DNA, your 14 strands of DNA or whatever, or 26 or whatever it might be, and yet still it's just all talking about mental stuff, interesting stuff for the mind to ponder, but it's still not getting down into your life force energy. And the life force energy is root power. Emotional expression is the release valve of the feeling body, and the feeling body is the heart of this life force energy. The feeling body is centered in the solar plexus. The solar plexus is the third chakra, and is the seat of emotion and feeling. But true root power, the Kundalini, originates from the root chakra, the first chakra. But getting in touch with your emotions, with your base primal, just uncontained emotions, and figuring out how to tap into that energy, that force of your consciousness, that emotional element of your consciousness, is a good way to get in touch with feeling in general. You get more in touch with your intuition, your sensitivity to your environment, your compassion and empathy, and just with love, because love is not a thought, love is a feeling. And as long as you're disconnected from your feelings and your emotions, then you're disconnected from love. And that's kind of what it all comes down to, is just trying to bring about more love in the world and more love for yourself, which will be reflected by loving others more and by others loving you more. And so that's really what this control system is about, is keeping people disconnected from their feelings, from being in a state of genuine love, from being sensitized to their environment. Because if people are desensitized, then they can be controlled more easily, for one thing, and then they don't feel, so they don't notice how off balance things are. If you're desensitized, you can live in the city, be amongst cars and concrete and all these various radio waves and cell phone signals and everything all around you, and jackhammers and exhaust and honking horns and all this stuff. And if you're desensitized, then you don't realize there's anything wrong, that this is a disconnected culture from the natural world. And so then they can get away with it. People just keep going about their business, and maybe somewhere within their consciousness they feel like something's kind of out of whack, or they're just unhappy or depressed or frustrated, or feel like something's not right, but they never quite do anything about it or make any real changes. And so this serves the powers that be, is for people to be in this state of powerlessness, disconnect from their feelings and from their base powers. So the question then is, how do you get in touch with your life force energy? And there are many, many ways to do that. One good way is just to, and this is really kind of the beginning of my spiritual path, really, was going on walks in nature. When I was a senior in high school, then for one thing I started meditating regularly, and I started going on these walks regularly after school. I lived in the city. I was living in Oakland, California at the time, but up in the Oakland Hills, and there was this bike path, and I just got in this regular thing of going on walks and just getting away from the city a bit, watching my thoughts and just, thinking about my life and what I wanted to do with my life and all this kind of stuff. So just, if you can find somewhere where you can find at least relative peace and quiet and experience at least a taste of nature, even if you're in the middle of the city, if you can go to Golden Gate Park or Central Park or, some other park and see the trees and whatnot, and in so doing, then start looking more into your consciousness and what you're experiencing within and what's really going on. And are you just going to go with the expectations of others around you of what you're supposed to do and who you're supposed to be in this culture, or are you going to start thinking for yourself what you really want, what really makes sense to you, what's really a sane way to live, and start following your feelings and your intuition and your gut and your heart as to what sort of a life you're going to create for yourself, and in so doing, what sort of a world you're going to create going forward as one human being amongst billions, but one person can make a difference, and things will only change by each individual person making changes within. So other than that, I highly recommend yoga. Yoga is all about getting in touch with your life force energy, with your body, bringing prana into your physical form, into your body, and it can lead to Kundalini, as it did for me. As I've said in other videos, I don't recommend having a focus of trying to awaken the Kundalini energy in order to get in touch with life force energy, because there is life force energy regardless of that. And wow, I've just found a deer. Hi. There he goes. A little fawn. How cool was that? I knew I was going to scare it away, and maybe I should have just let it be, but I couldn't help it. I had to take a closer look. Wow, that was awesome. See, you get out in nature and you have some different types of experiences remind you of, different life forms that exist other than humans, who are being impacted by our societies that are so out of touch with the natural balance. Little deers in the woods. Cool. So as I was saying, then yoga is a great way to get in touch with the life force energy and getting more in touch with your emotions. Reading the spiritual experiences of others that can be very inspiring and give you ideas for other things to do in your life, other ways to get more in touch with yourself and come into your root power and honor your body, your physical body, as being entirely divine and part of the spiritual path, the physical realm in general as being part of the spiritual journey, rather than separating it out and saying, well, the spiritual realms are something completely separate and different from this physical world. But honor your humanness, because here we are being human, and so embrace that fully as part of the spiritual journey. So but just at least to have that awareness, that consciousness that that the lower self is part of who we are, and true oneness and unity is unifying upper and lower, and not striving to get up into the clouds, get off Earth, get out of here, get out of the body, but to recognize this third dimensional realm as a spiritual realm, just a more dense and challenging, oftentimes, aspect of the whole spiritual thing. It's all spiritual, and understanding that life force energy is not a thought. It is not a mental concept. It is a more powerful root energy that can be aligned with the mind, because the mind is important. The mind is powerful, for sure. But without that root power, then the mind runs amok and screws up the environment and gets lost in making inventions and the new fancy gadget and all this stuff in order to find ultimate happiness. But it's just an unending quest of the mind to finally find that satisfaction, when that satisfaction is within, and is finding unity of being. It is not something out there in the outer world that's going to satisfy us. So, all right, that was a nice little walk. Take care. I just had a couple more quick thoughts I wanted to add onto the end of this about how to get in touch with that life force energy. A few other ideas that came to mind, which is that here I am at a rainbow gathering, and the rainbow gatherings are really, really about getting in touch with that life force energy and feeling the connection to the earth, and also the freedom of expression, of creative expression. Our modern day societies are so focused on progress, production, efficiency, being civilized, surrounded by machinery all the time, disconnected from the natural world, and along with that comes a real suppression of the spirit, because there's no time, there's no place for just having fun and beyond the accepted versions of just self-expression and finding your creative flow and just going with it. Here at the gatherings, people are all dressed up in all kinds of weird clothing and maybe even naked, or just being themselves, as long as everyone's getting along and being peaceful and being respectful and being conscious, but allowing that free-flowing energy to flow. For example, one of my favorite things at the rainbow gatherings is the drum circles. They just get a big bonfire going after the dinner circle. There's a communal dinner circle, and then big bonfire in the middle of the meadow, and then just a raging drum circle goes throughout the night, and people are dancing, a dozen or more people playing drums, and then people just dancing however the hell they want to, just getting in touch with that creative energy, really. And it can be expressed through art, dance, music, whatever, but just finding that personal expression and following it and seeing where it takes you, and where it takes you within, and how it manifests and wants to express without, is definitely an important aspect of contacting those deeper creative energies, because life is really all about expression and just finding out who we are through expressing ourselves and seeing where that takes us. So there you go. All right, take it easy.